MCPodcasting.
3, 2, 1. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Dan and Stephen here. We're joined by a very special guest, Jay Flood. How's it going, mate?
Hey man, what's up? It's good to finally talk to you guys. It's been a while now we're talking on Instagram.
I was on Instagram for a while. It's a bit different talking face to face. So for anyone who doesn't know, Jay is the writer, director, producer, sound guy, light guy, camera guy.
A bit of everything.
A bit of everything, multi-talented, from the Pariah platform on YouTube. For anyone who doesn't know, because I was trying to, as you said before we actually started recording, I was trying to explain how your channel is, or what your channel is, but as you said, it's everything, isn't it? It's like reactions, your own comedy content. It's everything.
It's right now. It's all over the place. But as I was saying to you earlier, basically, I might as well say it now that I'm actually changing the name from the channel from the Pariah platform to Jay. So that's just what it's going to be called.
Jay?
It's going to basically just Jay. Yeah, it's just going to focus on me as a personality, and basically, it's going to be vlogs and short films. So that's
nice.
The direction now we're going in. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting what's coming down the line, because I've been doing very experimental content. I've been kind of going out there and trying to do things that other people haven't done before. And I find that the more shocking my content is, the more people like it.
Yeah.
So it's going to get very shocking.
Can I ask, so
Time goes
Stephen,
on.
Dan and I, we rebranded recently, and when we go through it, we bounce ideas off each other. So that's where I kind of find it easier, because sometimes I'll say something and then Dan will be like, no, we shouldn't do that. Or he'll say something, I'll be like, well, I don't agree. And that kind of helps us get along. But see, whenever you're making these decisions to rebrand your channel, is there anyone you're bouncing these ideas off, or are you just thinking this is the best? From my own opinion, this is what I think's best.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had people who worked for me in the past, and the first name of my channel was Real Content. Then it was the Pariah platform. And the reason why it was the Pariah platform, because I knew I wanted to go in this direction. I wanted to make different content, really experimental content. Then I went to America. I went to California for a few months, and I was able to kind of see what was really, really successful over there. And when I came back here, I decided, right, this is something I really, really want to pursue. I want to go all in, be consistent. And at the minute, there's no one really involved in the channel. But there is some people I would bounce ideas off. One person in particular, his name's James Byrne, and he actually runs a channel called Just GAA Things, which is doing very, very well. I have another friend named Stephen, and Stephen is brutally honest.
God, his name's Stephen?
That's like my name?
Stephen. Yeah.
Stephen, do you know him?
Two friends named Stephen now. But Stephen is brutally honest, which I actually love. He just tells it how it is, and he actually agreed with me that Jay is the best route to go, because I don't refer to myself as the Pariah.
Yeah.
So people are kind of like, what the fuck, the Pariah? Like, and as I said before, people don't know what Pariah means.
Yeah.
And so basically Jay is where I'm going, and let's see where it goes.
Do you find it, for me and Stephen doing this together, so we see what we get, like views and stuff, and even the podcast and what we get downloads and stuff. So for us, it's a joint thing. So if one episode or one video gets low likes or low comments or low views, it's almost like we both share the burden. We both go, fuck it, that was shit. No way. But for me, like if I was doing it myself, I would take everything to the heart. That makes sense.
Right.
So do you need to obviously have a thicker skin out there? Because I know we've talked about before, like you spend so much time editing a video and trying to make it right, and for you it's perfect. And when you release it and you get like less views than you wanted, then for me it's always been like, fuck, I feel a wee bit shitty.
Oh man, it's devastating. It's the thing about it is that, and I'm sure you guys are both the same, it takes a lot of guts to even post a video and put yourself out there to that extent. And I think now that the content I've created, like a month ago, I did a video where I became a sugar baby. I did a lot of wild content, so I'm kind of beyond the point of I don't want to say obviously I care what other people think. I want people to like my content and stuff. But if one video doesn't automatically click I can kind of live with it and learn from the mistakes I would have made in that video. I think what bothers me the most, to answer your question, is basically when it comes to YouTube videos, what you really want to do is not only have people click on the video, but it's to have people watch the video for as long as you can, which is audience retention. And that's how your video will pop up in other people's recommendations and stuff like that. And if I was to go on a video and see that the average audience retention was 45%, so I'm like, all right, people only watch 45% of my video. That really pisses me off.
Yeah.
That's
it's hard.
what drives
It's difficult because
crazy.
it's like, it's not only do you want them to click your video and watch it, you want that person to also, like, the expectation of someone viewing your video. You want them to watch it, you want them to like it, you want them to subscribe, and you want them to come back. And to hit those 4 things is really difficult. So not every person is going to do that. Especially if your channel and your content is so diverse. Like, as we were saying before we started recording, if we were react to a Drake song and it gets 12,000 views, and then next thing you know, I do, something that I want to do, like based on Harry Potter, or Dan does something based on like his own interest in conspiracies or whatever. Someone who's watched Drake doesn't give a shit about conspiracy theories. So it's so fucking hard to get them. We want them to like us.
Of course, like, people need to invest in you guys' personalities. But what I actually learned, and that's a problem I had, there's service content and then there's selfish content. So selfish content is the type of content you want to create, whereas service content is the type of content that your subscribers want you to create.
Yeah.
So it just takes time for them to kind of, you kind of, as you said, you don't know what your fan base wants. You don't know what your subscribers want. So it'll take time, I guess, just to build that trust in the audience for them to leave a comment underneath one of your videos saying, do this, do that. Something I do is that I put polls on Instagram, and it's like a quiz, so people can click what type of theme they might want me to do next, and that's helped me because I might think I have a great idea, and then it might be executed poorly or whatever, or people just might not like it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to differentiate that, and it's just hard, man. YouTube is hard. Like.
I think it's I don't know what, maybe it's just me just being a bit too deep. You also gotta be true to yourself. Like, make the videos that you want to make. Like, there's nothing worse than doing a video because you're just wanting likes and it not doing well. You're like, I sold out for this video and it didn't do well. You know what I mean? Like, I did a Drake song, Tootsie Slide, it got like 50 views. I'm like, how's that possible? Like, because we will do a Lady Gaga song and get like, was it 5,000 views? Like, how the fuck?
Crazy,
like, but how can, like, even though, like, I think when me and Stephen did that Lady Gaga one, it was just like, let's see what we think of this here.
And we laughed at it, like, and we
fun.
had fun making it. So whereas the Drake thing, like, not to say that we love Lady Gaga and that's a fun thing to do, it's more, I don't give a shit about Drake. You don't give a shit about Drake.
Yeah.
I'm only doing this to make so that's one of the reasons why we rebranded as well. So it's like, let's start like making videos we want to make, and then we have a problem in the sense that our reaction videos, so we'll do a reaction to Ricky Gervais or something, or a comedian that we like.
You did the Golden Globes, didn't you?
Yeah.
He's got ridiculous amount of views on
it's
that.
It's like
video.
over 50,000, that one.
Yeah,
right?
Serious.
But then, so we do that, right, which is great, and then we kind of have that going. So we have our reaction reviews, which give us like on average 1,000, sometimes 10,000, sometimes 12,000. It's a bit all over the place. And then we have our own videos that we make. Look, I'll make like just something that I want to talk about. I'll make a UFC video. I'll make a Harry Potter video. I'll make something that's out of my interests, and that'll get between 50 to 100 views.
Right.
And it's such a difference. So
and
I
it's
think
hard.
we just cut it gradually. Like, I'm hoping that the videos that we make ourselves in 3 months, they'll go from 50 to 100 to maybe 200 to 300.
Yeah.
And then our problem is we can get lost in the fact that these people are clicking to these clickbaity videos.
Yeah.
And it's not really a true representation of how well we're doing,
Yeah, it's hard. Like, see, the thing what you have to do there is be very careful. There's a Chrome extension called keywordseverywhere.com. And it'll tell you how many the search volume a search will get every month. So if you want to do something on Harry Potter, you can actually see what people are searching for in relation to Harry Potter.
Mhm.
And then you can focus on that topic and create a little niche in there. So you have to make sure all your content is searchable, because the problem is there's so much content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's so much content on it. That's why it's so hard to figure it out. And basically you need to make sure that the content you're uploading, people are actually looking for it, people are searching for it, because that'll improve the visibility of it. And there's a lot of elements you have to take into account. Like, I mean, I'm using Google Trends now. I'm going to start using Google Trends, which I haven't used before. And it's just another tool I'm adding on.
Yeah.
And I find with it that I might, it's just, there's so much work involved. It's just constant research with YouTube.
I think that's the problem that I have now, and I'm starting to realize, is YouTube the right platform for like new, if you're trying to make your own content, is YouTube the platform that I start off? Because it's so oversaturated now, YouTube, and we all know that. For a young YouTuber or like us who's starting off doing it, like, how are we going to get recognized? How are we going to be able to make a video and people see? Like, you hear these stories a lot where people, I released one video and I got like 1 million views. And like, what the fuck did you do? How did you do that? Like, we've released about 100 videos and like we're still struggling. Like, every week it's kind of like it's a lottery. It's like, it could be anything. Could be 1,000 views. Could be 5 views. That's what we're struggling with. And then you see these videos that people like, the things you need to do to get likes and comments and stuff, and part of me is just like, that's just luck. I do all that shit. You know what I mean? We post consistently. We have topical content, and it still doesn't change. And I think it goes back to being true to yourself and releasing your own content. Because if you release your own content, things you enjoy, I think people can actually see that. And like, I don't know, I feel like every video that I didn't want to do, every reaction that I didn't want to do, it got really bad views.
Right.
And every video and every reaction that I really enjoyed, and it was different, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. Like Lady Gaga, or like we did Dave when he performed at the Brit Awards, like things that we truly deeply enjoyed, that they always get better views. And I think that can maybe come across, and maybe it is just topical, and maybe it's just luck at the end of the day.
Sorry, Dan, it's also, we're also getting attacked by these big, massive corporations, like, so
You
BT.
guys
No. People like content creators.
Google after us, Jay. Google, Microsoft, they're all after us.
Right, so BT, you've got your own YouTube channel now. Fuck off. It's like, so
Yeah.
BT, ESPN, Sky Sports. So most people who now watch YouTube are watching these massive multi corporations who have their own TV channels.
Established.
And you're like, right, so who has an appetite to listen to Dan and I talk about football whenever they could just listen to a 5-minute clip on professional footballers on BT on YouTube? I'm like, should that be on YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube was supposed to be people like us.
Right. And then you have Roy Keane.
Yeah.
Roy Keane. How are you going to do that?
Like, people are going to want to listen to Roy Keane talk about Man United rather than me and Stephen talk about Man United. So I think that's the problem, which I actually never thought of, Stephen. That's a good point.
That's really fucking frustrating. Why ESPN, Sky Sports, BT, UTV, they all have YouTube channels and they're all making the same content that we're making. And it's like, but you already have everything. I'm like, what? Like, you have everything. You have a whole fucking TV channel. Like, what else?
For us.
If I watch, maybe we're going too political and too deep here, but if I watch news outlets and stuff talk about political aspects, like say the Jeremy Corbyn versus Boris Johnson, like a general election before Christmas, or like, I see the problems out there. I see the bias towards a certain party, regardless if you agree, regardless if you're Conservative or Labour, there's the bias towards a certain party, which we're not going to get into it. So for us, well, not for us, don't want to throw Stephen under the bus, but for me personally, I want to be the alternative out there. I want to be the person who brings up the problems. I want to be the person to say, do you know Boris Johnson did X, Y, and Z? Do you know the Grenfell Towers victims haven't got accommodation yet? Like, what the fuck? Why isn't UTV, ITV, BBC, Sky News talking about all this shit? But I think that even though our podcast is a small podcast and our YouTube channel is a small YouTube channel, I think we have the responsibility to fix that problem. Are we going to be the solution? Maybe not, but at least we're trying.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, it's very interesting to kind of be more of a rebel with a cause, to actually fight something and to give people answers they want. Like, I'm sure you're not the only person who's thought of why isn't this happening, why isn't that happening, and I mean, you could definitely be that voice. But the thing is, for me, anyways, personally, I don't mind political issues. I don't mind kind of looking into that a bit, but I just, the engagement is way better. But for some reason, I just have this. I just want to make different type of content, kind of be alternative in the sense that I'm kind of making outlandish stuff and kind of crazy stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys know Howard Stern, but
yes, he's that radio guy, isn't he?
He's the radio guy in America.
Yeah.
But I really loved his content because it was just so different and so out there. And when I was in America, I was working with a guy called Mike Live, and he has his own show on Dash Radio. Now, the person he brought me to meet, well, I didn't meet him, but it was kind of different. Basically, Mike was interviewing a guy called Hassan, and Hassan works with Dame Dash. So Dame Dash went Rockefeller with Jay-Z, went in on that. And yeah, it was pretty big. Like, I just shook Dame Dash's hand, and I met Hassan. Hassan's a really nice guy, that's the thing. And I recorded the interview, and I did the editing and stuff, and me and Mike got on really well. He's a really nice guy. But I just remember being there saying, wow, like, everything here is just so big. And I just, like, the studio, they had a dog. They had a pug just walking around the set. Like, it was a proper set they had. Like, when we did the interview with San, we were in a different room altogether. But Dame Dash was launching a type of streaming service. And he had I think it was Adam 22, if I remember correctly. He was interviewing him.
Yeah.
And I remember, it's funny actually, the dog was just walking around on the set. And I was like, Jesus, I can imagine that in Ireland. People would be like, get that dog off the set, sort of way. But they just let the dog go freely. And since it was California, you can imagine just the weed smoke all over that.
Yeah, so one of the first videos I came across was you talking about your time in LA. Do you mind what made you go to LA?
Basically, it was always my dream to go there. I always had it in my head after I finished college. I studied in DCU in Dublin, and I graduated, and I was just like, wow, like I kind of want to do a bit of traveling. I had that itch, and basically I went over to LA. I had a friend over there who's still over there now. It's a rough time to be over there now with what's going on with the pandemic. So
sure it is, yeah.
I hope everything's all right over there with everyone. But it was it was such an experience, LA was.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 4 months. I like in LA to not only another country, another planet. Yeah. Like I was only telling someone a few days ago, the difference between LA and Dublin. Well, I'm from Kildare, but I spent the last few years pretty much in Dublin. Is that you could be waiting to get a bus and someone could be smoking a joint in Dublin. You could be waiting to get a bus in LA and someone could be smoking crack. So it's completely different. But
I was there. I actually went in September to LA.
Oh, wow. Whereabouts?
We were staying in San Diego, but we had a car and we drove up to LA. So we didn't stay in LA, but we were there for like 4 days. We kept traveling, which was a nightmare because San Diego doesn't seem that far on the map, but it is like almost like a 4-hour drive, 3-hour drive. So it killed me driving up and down for me, like I've been to New York about 6 or 7 times, been to New Orleans, been to Chicago. I lived in outside Pittsburgh for a few months, maybe 4 months, a couple years ago. So I've been to big cities and stuff. But LA was the first city I've ever went to where it was so overwhelming. I felt under pressure. Like I felt like it felt the way people talk. Like it just seems it just felt so big, if that makes sense. Like I've been to New York, and New York's mental. New York's amazing. I love
New York as well.
But I always feel like New York is like, okay, everyone's going, but LA just seems so big. Like in Hollywood, for example, Hollywood, how big is fucking Hollywood? Hollywood's
I lived in Hollywood.
Yeah, how big is that?
It was just, we were, so it was Santa Monica Boulevard. That was the name of the street we were staying on. And basically, I always, like, when you go there for the first time, you're thinking about the Walk of Fame. You're going to be like, oh, this is going to be great, you know. But the Walk of Fame is a shithole. It's horrible. Like, when people don't realize it's actually horrible. It's scruffy. It's really, really scruffy.
Yeah.
And basically, like, until you see the poverty in Hollywood, like, you just can't compare it. Like, it's so different, so crazy. But in saying that, I feel like I lived more in those 4 months than I did my whole life. I had so many crazy experiences over there. Some I outlined in the video. I can actually give you something I didn't mention in the video. I could actually give you that I think you'd find very funny. So there's a guy called Matt. He runs a channel called, I'm not going to try to pronounce his second name because I can't pronounce it and he'll make fun of me about it. But he runs a social media account called American Pulps. And it's a really, really good kind of comic book type thing. I think that's how I describe it. Basically, they just post old kind of American, I don't even know how to describe it. Some of it's like posters, then some of it is like comic strips and stuff. But it's really, really cool. And I met him on LinkedIn because that's what America's all about. It's all about networking. So it turns out he also was behind the scenes on a Cocktails with Khloe Kardashian episode. And he was telling me funny. Yeah, pretty big. But like, you say that here, it's huge. But in LA, like, I'm sure most people involved in the industry have worked with at least one big name. And,
it's kind of like someone saying here in Belfast, I worked on Game of Thrones, just like everyone has Game of Thrones. That's not a big deal, mate. Go over it.
With Matt, like, it was he was telling me stuff, like, it was just, I remember meeting him before, and we were meeting in a coffee shop in Hollywood, and I was walking towards it, and I felt a bit iffy, not because I was meeting Matt, because I'm never really nervous for these things. I just didn't feel right, and I was in the cafe, and I just felt, I was like, something's not right. So I went into the toilet, and I ended up getting sick. And someone in the next stall to me was like, "Oh, you all right, man? You all right, man?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was like, "Ugh." I was in an awful state. And I went into the mirror, and I was kind of like slapping myself, saying, "You snap out of this, you know what I mean? You can do this." Because you can imagine how bad a first impression that would have been. So I just laugh out now. It wasn't funny at the time. But I went back anyways, and I got an ice water, and because I had no money at the time, and ice water was free. And Matt walked in, and he was like, "Hey, how are you, man? How are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm good." And he was waiting in the line. He's like, do you want a coffee or something?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm fine, actually. I'm going to go to the restroom." Because he called it the restroom over there. And when I went, it was like, I don't know, like a Pearl Jam, Nirvana, grainy effect type music video. Everything was just retro and blurry. And when I went towards the door of the restroom, there must have been something keeping it open before. It had a code on it, and I didn't know the code. And then I knew, I was like, oh my God. So I had to turn back around. And the way Matt describes it, he describes it best. Basically, I walked out, I was looking around, I was completely blurry, and then I passed out on the floor. And next thing I remember is Matt and this woman picking me up off the ground. And I was just like, what? I just fucked. I couldn't see. I could hear, but I couldn't see, which was kind of terrifying, to be honest. Jesus. And I went back to the restroom, and I was getting sick into the toilet. And Matt was talking to me outside the stall. So we basically had the type of contact type interview type thing where I was in the stall getting sick and Matt was talking to me outside it. Basically, I got brought out anyways, and I was saying they were going to ring an ambulance, but the thing about LA is that if you ring an ambulance, it's way more expensive.
Yes, I heard.
Cost serious money. So I was like, no ambulance.
So
I walked back out and I passed out again on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So what ended up happening is that Matt came out, he rang an Uber, put me in the back of the Uber, and we went to an urgent medical care centre. And he stayed with me throughout the whole thing, and I had to get pumped. I had to actually not pump the bag. I can't think of the name of the thing. Is it dialysis or something? I don't even know what it's called. But on the drip. I was on the drip.
On the drip, all right.
And I was lying on the thing, and Matt was just sitting down. I was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. And he was like, oh yeah, and I just started pitching ideas to him about possible reality shows. And he just said, I have to say, I've never encountered something like this before, and he was laughing. So we were actually friends after it. So it was funny the
was
way it
wrong with
worked.
you?
Oh my God, sure. I emailed him, I think, last month, and I was talking to him how is he getting on and stuff. But once again, the issue I had is that Matt was trying to get me work over there, and I was so restricted because of my visa. And that's kind of why I had to come home. One of the reasons why I had to come home. I couldn't get a job, an official job. Like on my visa, the restrictions were I had to have a base pay salary attached that was at least the minimum wage. And the issue is most of the jobs over there for media were like 100% commission, or there weren't base pay salary attached to it.
Was it a J1 visa?
It was a J1. It was a postgraduate visa. So I was meant to be there for, I could have stayed there for a year if I wanted, but 4 months was enough, you know. And I was only talking to my cousin about it yesterday, how poor it was. Basically, do you know the coffee, the big coffee jars you can get? Like, it's like a cylinder, and basically it's coffee you need to strain. You need to have a proper coffee machine to strain it and stuff like that. Like we used to get those coffee cylinders because they were way cheaper and you're getting way more coffee, but we didn't have the machine to make them in. So basically we would just pour it into a pot and boil it, and we'd have a strainer you'd use for pasta.
Oh, no way.
And we'd keep doing it until it was, I'd say, somewhat smooth. And that's how we'd have the coffee. It was so poor. And the stress over there was so mighty. I was chain smoking, so I was smoking cigarettes 24/7. And
Jeez.
so you can imagine that diet, waking up about 6 cups of coffee, God knows how many cigarettes. It was just a terrible
Nasty.
thing. I was like something out Trailer Park Boys.
That's amazing. I love
I
that.
was like Ricky. I was in an awful state, and basically, it just got to the stage where I felt like, right, I've had 4 months here. I've had a great time here, and now's not the time. And because of the visa, I was so restricted.
Yeah.
And I did 12 interviews. I think 12 or 13 interviews over the whole span I was there, and there was a lot of scams. There was a lot of we'll promise you this, we'll promise you that. They're just bullshit, you know. There was one interview in particular. I actually had a full-on breakdown on the side of the road after it.
Jesus.
I went absolutely insane. Have you ever seen a lad try to kick a curb on the road? I was like kicking the curb. Basically what happened is that I had an interview it was Rancho Cucamonga. That was the name of the place, which was so far away. I believe it was in Orange County, which was like 2 hours away, 3 hours away from me. And there was just, but I couldn't be selective. I had to just take what I could get, you know.
Yeah.
And I had that interview, and it felt like a sure thing. Well, not so much a sure thing. I felt very confident about it that they'd meet the restrictions. But then this woman, she was Chinese actually, and her English wasn't really good. She contacted me. She was working in a furniture shop, and it was a sales position. And I felt like, right, I could kind of manipulate this to make it appear like a media position. And she said, oh, yes, I will. I am going to, I was going to do a Chinese impression.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't do that. But the way she was speaking, I mean, the impression. She rang me, and it was just, she told me, oh, yeah, we'll make this requirement, that requirement. I went there, and it was complete lies.
Serious?
There was like 3 people in this room. First, she sent me to the wrong place. And then I came to where I was meant to go, and it was just a complete scam. And
no way, actual scam?
I just remember walking out and just going absolutely insane. I just remember just the frustration of it all, and then trying to get a bus home, and I didn't have enough money. So I had to go into a shop and basically buy a can of Monster and got cash back on my card, so I'd have enough change just to get back to where I was living. And it was rough. It was really rough. But I think the positive aspect of it is that when you kind of live like that for a while, you kind of have a sense of you can kind of tough things out, you know.
Yeah.
Like, thank God for my parents. My parents were very, very generous when it came to money.
Yeah.
Especially that last month and a half. Because, I mean, there was days where you wouldn't even have $10, you know,
Serious?
sort of way. And it was just, my dad actually told me when I came home, he was like, we used to look in your post office account because that's where they'd lodge the money. And I'd be telling them I had money, and when really I didn't, because I wanted to get through it. And it was just really, really tough. But the stories I have from LA are pretty crazy. Like that story with Matt, with Mike Live. I mean, it was a lot of fun with Mike. You know, Mike actually told me one day, he was like, sometimes I hear you talk and I have no idea what you're saying. I was just like, thanks, Mike. It's like that. But yeah, I mean, there was crazy stories.
Here, before we go, I want to bring up a topic here. Sorry to cut you off,
Go
but
ahead, ask something, man.
so me and Stephen had this conversation about this topic before, and Stephen's going to do a video on it, but I thought it'd be good to talk about it on this here and maybe give your point of view, and don't know if you know about it, about the whole Robert Pattinson situation about
Batman.
with him that, like, Stephen, do you want to explain it? Do you know more about it?
No,
Yeah,
probably.
so he done an interview, and he was asked about getting in shape for the role, I think, and he was saying that, you know, as he's in lockdown, he's not really doing that much. He's like, I'm not really working out as much as they're asking me to, and he was saying stuff like, if you're working out all the time for these roles, you're part of the problem, right? To me, it was just kind of like a throwaway comment about working out and about being Batman, and the internet's going fucking mad. So they are
like properly attacking him, saying like
he's not working out, he doesn't care about the character, Batman should be massive, Batman, like, sack him, boycott the movie, and like there's all these fucking fitness freaks that are making these videos, and they're like, Batman should be like, you know, The Rock, like Batman should be a tank, Robert Pattinson's too skinny, he's disrespectful, and I just think it's really fucking interesting, like.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I seen that. I knew what you were going to say because I actually said about him bulking. And the thing is, everything has to be so relatable now. Like, we're in such a PC world right now. But the issue I have, like, he said that you're a part of the problem and stuff like that. And I guess you know, people want to see Batman. How can you relate to Batman? You know what I mean? Like, I just, body wise, like, who's gonna have that body as it is? Like, it's a role. I think everything is just being blown out of proportions. Like, I think it's probably toxic for models and bodybuilders and stuff like that in magazines, and for people to try to aspire to be that when they're not going to be that. And you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, if it's natural or if it's steroids and stuff like that. But I mean, I just look at them like, a movie's a movie. Why can't someone just make a movie? Yeah. And if it's Robert Pattinson or Christian Bale or whoever's playing the role, and just watch it and enjoy it. Like, why are we talking about politics in relation to fucking Batman? Like, you know what I mean?
My thing was, like, he's going to be in shape for the movie, right? If you look at him even now, he's probably slim. He's probably still in shape. Like, and like, the people that are making the videos, like, the people that are complaining about it are the big jack guys, the guys who go to the gym all the time, who spend their whole life in the gym and they're massive. And I just kind of think, like, you know, if you want, like, all your superheroes to be this way, it's almost just justification for you to be in the shape that you're in. The fact that you're taking all these steroids, that you're in the gym fucking most of your life to look a certain way, that you think, you know, Captain America should be massive. If he's massive, look at me. Like, I'm inspiring to be like him. And it's just like an insecurity that you have. Like, Michael Keaton wasn't fucking ripped. He was a brilliant Batman. It doesn't matter. It's crazy. Like, I get it if he was like a fucking 20-stone guy that was overweight. Like, yeah, he can't be Batman. But like, you look at UFC fighters, like Conor McGregor, we talk about, in amazing shape, but he weighs like 150 pounds. It's like, but he fucking kick your ass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he could definitely. Yeah, he has the body for it. Yeah.
You don't need to be, like, Ben Affleck was massive. It's like, you don't need to be 16 stone pure muscle to play Batman. I think that's crazy.
I just think it's blown out proportions. Like, like for fuck's sake, like I don't get why. Like I see the news sometimes and I'm like, people getting offended over this and that, and I'm like, how could you possibly get offended?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, I don't know, the world we live in now, everything is so politically correct. And I mean, obviously there's people who are completely wrong, and then there's people who just like how are these issues that we're
Yeah.
discussing, you know?
It's so frustrating because for me, a movie, it's not about how. Obviously, the way a film looks is a big part of it now, but for me, it's always the storyline and
Yeah.
always the acting ability. If you're a good actor and the storyline's good and it's told in a certain way, it's going to be a good movie. So that's why I get frustrated, especially with me and Stephen disagreeing this here, but like the MCU, I'm bringing it up because that's like that's something that has amazing storylines, but it has really shit storylines. For me, I hated it when it first came out, when I first started making these movies, because for me it was all about how it looked. It looked really clean cut, and everyone was in like ripped shape. I'm like, I don't give a shit about this here. Just tell me a story. That's why I started getting into it when I watched like a Winter Soldier. I'm like, this has nothing to do with him being a superhero. It's all about the story. It's a spy thriller, and that's why I like about it. And especially Batman. Batman doesn't need to be a part of the MCU. You don't need to compete. That's why I hated Justice League and Batman versus Superman. Batman can just be Batman. Batman is a detective. It can be so simple and basic. That's why Christian Bale's Batman was so well done, because it was so basic at the end of the day. It was just a bad guy and a good guy fighting each other. There you go. Give me a good storyline and I'll enjoy it.
Well, like, have you ever seen the Batman graphic novels?
Yeah.
Like, they're fantastic, like, you know what I mean? And as you said, it just goes back to just telling a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like I did, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but it's like a Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. It was like a Nickelodeon program.
Yeah, I used to love it.
And well, I did a parody of it.
Yeah, same that.
And it's just like, it's like anything else. There's a beginning to the story, there's a middle to the story, there's an end to the story. And I think it's funny how a simple concept of telling a story can be lost in these Hollywood films.
Yeah.
Like I remember just watching a film and saying, you know what I mean? Like, why does that, like, I don't mind action films. Like, for some reason I like Fast and Furious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm
It's an
not,
escape,
not
like,
like,
you know?
Yeah, guilty pleasures and stuff, but it doesn't
yeah,
mean.
but like the stunts are so ridiculous. You know,
Well,
that sort of way.
But a part of me is like, I watched a movie last year, I think it was 2 years ago, called The Meg. It's with
I love that movie.
That is like one of the worst movies I've ever watched in my life. I get Stephen liked it because Stephen thought it was just it's.
I thought this is the most ridiculous movie I've ever watched in my life. I'm gonna fucking sit and enjoy it.
I watched that movie and I'm like, the amount of people that made this movie, and not one of them said, here, this movie's shit, by the way. Like, what the fuck are we doing? The storyline's bad, the acting's bad, everything's bad about it. But I get that. Like, a lot of people like the idea of just being a stupid movie, don't need to think about it. But sometimes, like with action movies, they can have good storylines. They can be good. They don't need to be stupid. Like, look at the Jason Bourne trilogy, or the 4 or 5 movies, whatever we want to talk about. But they're like probably the best action. That's probably the best action trilogy ever made. But it's an action movie, but it's all about the storyline. Storyline carries the movie. Like, the storyline has so much importance in the movie, it makes everything else secondary. If you could have amazing stunts, but if the actual movie's crap or storyline's crap, the movie's crap.
No one gives a crap. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, you know, like, I know I'm talking about a TV series now, but I mean, you look at Dexter. If you guys remember Dexter,
Yeah, I like that.
like the first season or two of Dexter, like, spoiler alert if anyone's watching it now, which I doubt, it's been years, but the first seasons of Dexter were fantastic. I mean, the story was great, it was so fresh. And then the end, when have you guys seen the end?
Yeah.
I've never
When he
watched
goes
that.
and you haven't seen, well, I won't spoil the ending, but basically, it's just, well, Stephen,
Ridiculous.
you've seen the ending. It doesn't. I don't think it's right by the character. It's just so silly and so ridiculous. You're like, I didn't expect what? You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell is going on?
But it's like anything. If you drag a concept out for long enough, it's going to become shite. Or they're going to change it so much that it's not going to be what it was at the start. It's like movies. I think Stephen, you made this point about Star Wars. Like, we're massive Star Wars fans, but Stephen hated the new trilogy. And it's get to the point now where it's like, there's like 12 movies, like, but only about 4 of them are actually good. There's more bad Star Wars movies than there is good ones now. It's getting to the point, like, it's getting so detached from what it actually was at the start that actually is so unrecognizable.
Did
Well,
you
I
watch
mean,
the
like,
second
you have
season
the
of
Anakin
Afterlife?
trilogy, and then you have the new trilogy as well.
Yeah.
as compared to the original story just of Luke Skywalker. I mean,
So simple.
worlds apart.
What are you saying, Stephen? Sorry.
Did you see the second season of Afterlife?
Yeah, loved it.
I mean, Ricky Gervais, I haven't seen that series at all, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
I watched the second season and I didn't like it at all. Like,
I loved
I don't
it.
know. See, I like the first season. So Ricky Gervais, I love him. Like, we
I
react
love
to some
him
of
as
his
well.
videos. The Office and actors to me are genius.
Extras is very good.
Fucking brilliant.
Super
But
Army
my
stuff.
biggest issue with this Afterlife was like he was real. Like him as a character felt so real. But every single person that he was in contact with, they were just so cartoonish. It's like the postman, for example, like the psychiatrist, even the woman on the bench. To me, I was just like, this is the first time that Ricky Gervais has done a show where whenever you watch The Office, the people that he was communicating with, yes, they were extreme and they were silly and they were a wee bit out there, but you felt like you could relate to them. You know what I mean? You felt like this is someone that you know. It's like, yes, it's 100% over the top, but it's still in their surface. Everyone knows a David Brent. But with Afterlife, I was just like, these people don't exist. It's like they're saying the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. I was just like, but Ricky Gervais does, because he's saying this emotional stuff about his wife, and he's like real, but everyone else he's bouncing off was just like a caricature. I was like, what am I watching here? Which is crazy for me because I'm such a fan.
Well, I think that's the secret. I think you just hit what content should be about. I think the best way to get your content noticed is if other people can relate to it. Like you look at Love Hate, if you remember the Love Hate series in Ireland. Like I remember my dad saying to me, or you'd see it in the newspapers. My dad knows a guard, and the guard said to him, "Oh yeah, that's the way it is." Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the characters, obviously, you have to have the Hollywood effect on a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, the more people can relate to something, whether it's from their childhood or if it's them growing up, the more they can see, oh, I know that person. I know a person like that. Or like I give you another example. Like Pat Short, The Garage. If you remember that movie, I had a friend years ago who used to say, "Oh, we all know someone like that, like an older lad who's a bit, he's harmless, but he's not all there." That sort of way. But we all know someone, whether we were growing up, who was like that. So,
and it's kind of the way comedy works too. Comedy works like that. It's like the comedian says things that everyone kind of thinks but doesn't really want to say.
Yeah.
And that's the way it kind of works. And if you bring it back to even YouTube and what we're doing, and the problem that we have is we have subscribers that we don't actually know, and we don't know their interests. So it's very, very difficult. Like they've all subscribed to our channel for a different reason. So it's very hard for us to determine what kind of content that they want. So we could make a video that polarizes your fucking people who subscribe to your channel, and it just racks everything you've built because they have different opinions on things. And it's like, shit, I have 1,200 subscribers, but I've made this video and they all fucking hate it. So it's like, you're stuck, but you're like, but I really want to make the video because this is my views. And I'm like, but I could lose subscribers. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I do.
I think we can come full circle here. I think there was a good story talking about like the Beastie Boys when they first released their album Licensed to Ill, which was their first ever album. They weren't the party goers. They were making songs to almost like make fun of party goers. Like imagine a party song about trying to fight for your right to party. That was a joke. That was they were taking a piss out of people who wanted to party because they were all really like they were a quiet bunch of fellas who just wanted to make music and talk about art all the time. But they say, "Oh, we'll do a rap song by taking a piss." So their attitude towards taking a piss out of partygoers became so successful that they had to become the partygoers.
That's their niche.
Yeah, and they were like, "What the fuck?" So that's why after their first album, they even though it's one of the biggest selling debut albums of all time, they received no money from Def Jam Records because they had to leave it. They almost broke up after that there because they're like, "We've become who we've hated,
who we've despised."
Yeah, so it was a breaking point for them there. So like, what the fuck do we do now? Do we keep doing this here and make loads of money, or do we just cut it off and stop doing this here and do what we want to do? And that's what they did. They went to LA and signed a deal with Capitol Records, and they started making like really experimental hip hop rock genre music, and they became Beastie Boys. But that could have easily went downhill for them. Like they could have only been popular because they're party antics. So that's why I think for us, bring it back to YouTube, it's like, I think you just got to I think there's, why are you on YouTube and why are you making this content? are you making it for likes, for comments, or for like subscribers? Then keep doing the generic stuff. But if you just want to do it because you want to express yourself in a certain way, i.e. make a documentary about Beastie Boys or make a documentary about UFC or some shit, like then do it. And if you're not chasing likes, then it would be more organic then, and people will come across you. Maybe you're not going to get thousands of views, but you're going to get like 10 views, and that one person who watched it is going to get more out of that there than the 1,000 people who watched your reaction to fucking Drake.
But I 100%, I completely agree. I think but there are subjects that you kind of have to be careful with, because no one's going to get offended if I make a UFC video. No one's going to get offended if I make a Harry Potter video, because out of the 1,200 subscribers, they'll just not watch that one. But when it comes to religion, when it comes to like things like that, people get offended and shit, and that's where you're kind of like, you want to be careful who you polarize, because it's like you want them to watch your video, you want them to subscribe, you want to make videos, say your whatever religious view, political view, but like you don't know who's watching that. Whereas there's other content like a conspiracy theory. No one's really going to get offended by a conspiracy theory because that's fucking fun. But there's that classic thing, you don't talk about religion and politics when you're in a bar, because someone's going to get pissed off.
Someone's going to get annoyed. And like even with that Gemma O'Doherty video I put up on YouTube, I was talking about, there was one part in the video where it was a compilation where she goes into a halal butcher's, I believe. And one of the comments was about someone just talking about how halal food shouldn't be in Ireland and stuff like that. And I was just like, I just remember seeing it and saying, like, I would never post that comment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless what I believe, I'm like, why do you feel the need to spread that? You know, is that right?
It's just negative. Like, just try. We always talk about this, Dan. Like, fucking just try be a good person yourself. Like, if you're on just spreading hate and you're getting so angry and annoyed about shit, then you're the asshole.
Yeah. Well, like, it was funny when, as you said, there's certain topics, like, I mean, when it comes to, like, I was in an interesting spot there, because I seen that comment and I was like, should I, like, the comments, like, I'll tell you, actually, we were talking about editing. I did a follow-up video, basically talking about the reactions to that compilation. And I was like, I'm going to draw these two videos in together. It's a technique called stealing your own views. So I was like, right, I'm actually going to try take all the views from this video and get it on my other video. And some of the comments, I was like, I can't actually include this in the video because I was afraid I'd get sued. And I know you're thinking that sounds ridiculous. You're only a small YouTuber. But I mean, the comments were it was actually uncomfortable, to be quite honest, some of the comments. Like the halal thing I mentioned, because I was like, right, you know, it's something that people can debate about, you know, sort of way that people can say, no, I don't agree with this view is wrong, you know, this, that, or the other. But there was other comments in it that were completely and utterly, just to be honest, really, really bad though, really, really bad. And I was in an interesting spot there where I was like, it was so frustrating for me, because I was like, right, this is kind of like, there was names mentioned in the comment. And it's funny, the way I did it was basically I took out the whole name. I blocked it out, but I kept the first letter of the name.
Okay.
Of the whole name, just so people know that it's a real comment, you know.
Okay,
sure. What went wrong is that the first letter of the name pronounces the name anyways. If that makes sense. So say I'm trying to say, like, if the person's name was J, right?
Okay.
Say I took out AY.
It's still J.
There's still a letter J there, so it still describes the name. So I was like, oh fuck, you know. So I'll just take out the whole thing, and I took out the whole thing. I was like, I just don't feel comfortable. I just still didn't feel comfortable even. I just didn't think it was a good term to even. I didn't think it was a good. I didn't want to decipher it, you know. Sorry, I just didn't want to even go down that road with it.
It's interesting.
It's content's hard.
It is, because I always kind of watch, like, you know, you see someone like Bill Burr, or Frankie Boyle, or Ricky Gervais, and you hear them talking on podcasts, and they're not making their jokes on their stage, but they're talking about, like, how it can be difficult to navigate, like, through like what to say, what not to say, and we at a point encounter that as well, because it only takes one person to really go at you. It can be quite vicious, you know. So it's a balance that you need to kind of try to strike.
And I
It
think
takes one. You can say one word. Sorry to interrupt you, man, but you can say one word. Like I could say one thing in this podcast, or you could say one thing in this podcast, and you know it could be completely blown out of proportions. And that's why it must be hard for comedians like Norm Macdonald, who were kind of successful in this era, like Howard Stern, even, who are successful in this era where the more outrageous you were, the better, the more successful you became, where people would come out with these outrageous lines, outrageous things, and now we're in 2020, and that just does not work anymore. And it's so politically correct. So I'd say it's hard, as Stephen was talking about, the balance. It must be very hard for people who are hugely successful in different generation, still trying to stay relevant in this politically correct generation.
And we're not even talking about whether it's right or wrong. Like that's not even the question. It's just it's a challenge. It's just recognizing that it's a challenge, you know.
And I think lucky for me and Stephen, we've never really. To be fair, we've done a lot of we did a lot of reactions to Dave, for example. He's very politically motivated rapper, and he's amazing, and he says a lot of points, and me and Stephen commented on points, which a lot of people could probably find us offensive because we probably slagged off certain prime ministers and certain people. But I think for us, we've never really got that much comments disagreeing with our political views, which is kind of good. But we don't really do political views on YouTube. We keep it more to the podcast. And we haven't really got that much comments about that, which is good. But also, I think for me and Stephen personally, don't want to speak for you, Jay, but like for us, we record ourselves every week talking about like political things, football, anything under the sun, anything that's relevant or interest to us. So for like, and it's a conversation me and Stephen had, like we don't want to come across offensive, we don't want to come across sexist, we don't want to come across as a racist.
Worse.
But I think at the end of the day, if you're deep down, if you're a racist, and if you record yourself for long enough, you will come across as a racist.
Out.
But I think, so I think for us, and what's a good thing, me and Stephen, this is episode 106 now. Like, we've talked for hours and hours and hours, and we have never once came across as sexist or racist and stuff. So, like, so we don't need to hate ourselves anymore. And that's why I asked my brother to come on one time to the podcast to do a political episode. He's like, no, I don't want to in case I say something. He's like, wait, I'm like, what are you going to say? Like, you're not a racist. You're not a sexist. You're not any of us. Like, you're not homophobic. Just come on, have a conversation. I think for us, I think the evidence is there. I see like Ricky Gervais, people can say what he wants. Like, he can make like a Holocaust joke on Twitter and all too. But everyone knows he's not anti-Semitic because he's been talking for years and years and years. That would have.
You're right, but it doesn't stop people telling him that he is. It doesn't stop people saying it.
Exactly.
People are so. Oh, sorry. Go on. Continue.
No, I think just to address, me and Stephen did an episode last week where it got quite heated because we were talking about sexism and stuff. I think me and Stephen agreed like 99.999% with each other, bar from that hyper-Pacific situation. I think why I think it's okay to listen to Frankie Boyle, Bill Burr, Ricky Gervais because he doesn't target a Pacific group. You know,
it's everyone.
Yes, so that's why I think it's okay. But if Frankie Boyle started making videos on YouTube where he's attacking women or Muslims consistently, like every episode, I'd be like, hey, come on now, seriously, like
where's this? You know, this is a bit too specific.
I think for me, I find offensive humor okay if everyone's getting attacked. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like it's like people are so sensitive over weird things. I find, like, for example, there was a video that was trending. I don't know how you guys do your reactions, but if I used to do a reaction, I'd look at what's trending in the YouTube search bar, and I do a reaction on that. And basically,
we'd never do that, do we?
Well, that's what I do because people are searching for it, and you can see what the top rank reaction is. And I did there's a song. It was I know I shouldn't pronounce it because I don't know, but it was DAUMODA. So Moda or something it was pronounced. I'm not sure, but that's the way I'm reading it. I'm Irish. I'm from Kildare. Leave me alone. But basically, I did a reaction to that video. It was trending in Ireland, but I believe it was big in Romania or somewhere. And I didn't like the video. I just found the video to be very cringe, and I just talked about that in the video. I was like, I just reacted to it naturally because I was just like, oh my god, this is hard to watch and stuff like that. And I mean, the reaction I got in the comments, you'd swear as if you'd swear, you know what I mean? It was so such silly stuff. Like, I think I said in the video, yeah, you should never have a mullet. It's like,
I had a mullet before.
It was like stuff like that, and it was so innocent and so silly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the reaction I got underneath it, I was like, oh my god. I was like, it was just people who are going crazy over it just because I didn't like this song. So I was laughing. I was like, I hope one day I have people who are so loyal to my brand that should anyone do a reaction talking bad about me, there'll be a lot of people in the comments saying, shut up. Like,
before we go, actually, because that's something really similar. Me and Stephen did a reaction to an Eminem song a few months ago called Darkness. Me and Stephen are massive Eminem fans, like massive. Like he's our favorite rapper. And the amount of grief that we got in our comments, like, we have like 100 dislikes and like 10 likes or something like that, something ridiculous. It's like, we're like, what the fuck did we say? All we said was like, I said the video was unbelievable. The video was amazing. I loved it. Song wasn't that good, but we're like, Eminem's so class. And the amount of grief going like, Eminem's better than your favorite rapper. And we're like,
no. What people done was they done the classic thing, what people always do, is if you don't like something, it's not because you have that opinion, it's because you don't understand it, which is so condescending. You're like, you would like this if you understood what he was saying. No, I understand what he's saying. I just don't think it's a good song. That's fine. I'm not saying you can not like the song. You can go ahead and like a song. That's fine. Knock yourself out. But like, what's the point in watching me just going, this is fucking class? If I don't think it is.
and the bad thing about that song, it was an amazing song. It was an amazing idea for a song. It's about like gun violence and I think it's about like being a drug addict and stuff and all too, and how it's like, I don't know, about mental illness and all too. It wasn't that complicated of a song. It was really straightforward. Like it was, the video explained that he has mental issues, and like regardless if you are a celebrity of mental issues, you can be like it's about the Vegas shooter, and because he had mental issues and he killed people. But I think he's trying to say that like we both have mental issues. This guy ended up killing people, but we're all the same. And gun violence and gun control needs to be enforced. And Jay, that was it. It was really straightforward. And people kept saying this, you don't get this video. I was like, no, we get it. It's quite straightforward. Like everyone gets this video. It's not really complicated. It's not like a Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, that's people, though, isn't it? Like, no matter what it is, on any sort of spectre of life, on any conversation, if someone disagrees with you, people don't accept that people have different opinions. Yeah. People don't accept that you're like, because you don't think how I think, it doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means we just have different opinions on stuff. I'm still a good cunt at the end of it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
I'm still a good cunt.
That's true.
Like, I'll tell you a funny thing. When I put that down Moda video, I actually found some of the negative comments to be funny. So I was sending them to my friend, and one of them was like, it was like, the start of it was like a little bit of a compliment, and then the ending was just, this is terrible. He goes, I really hope you grow, but you're just so unlikable. I was just like, I don't know if I should be happy or sad about that.
I love the I get where you're coming from. No, I don't get where you're coming from. You're just unwilling to learn. I'm like, what? It's like, you're unwilling to learn. I'm like, no, you're unwilling. So I'm just unwilling to agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, you could be wrong. It's like, what do you mean I'm unwilling to learn? I'm like, who are you? Fuck off.
My biggest worry doing like podcasts or YouTube videos, like, I'm really like self-conscious in how I speak. I feel like I mumble too much. But now it's almost become so funny when people comment on our videos going, you two should try not to mumble so much. Or like, oh, look at these two guys just mumbling to each other. It's like,
in fairness, I don't think I mumble.
No, I think it's more me.
Well, I mumble as well. Like, even I was actually thinking about that, and before I did this interview, I was like, oh God, don't start talking absolute shite about. If you ask me a question, I'll end up answering that. It'll take me about 20 minutes to answer that question. When I was in LA, I met Mike live. I was telling you about, and Mike said to me, "Oh, so how are you? Tell me about yourself. Why are you doing this?" And then I answered it. And then when we were leaving, we met this other guy called Cube, and Cube actually has his own show, like, was it Q Island Block or something on Dash Radio as well. And Cube asked me the same question, And then Mike goes, "Now, when you answer this question, just give him a short answer, not that big, long-winded bullshit answer you gave me like 5 minutes ago." I was just like, I was like, "You fucking bastard."
You fucking
my head.
Anyway, lads, I think that should be us. That's 1 hour. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Jay. Really appreciate it. For anyone who's interested, Jay has a channel, the Pariah platform, soon to be called Jay.
Well, just follow the Pariah platform, and I'll probably have to add something else to the J, because I'm sure the word, the name J is already taken.
So it's just J, like the G-A-Y?
That's, I'll probably have to, it'll be some variation of it.
Why don't you call it J Entertainment TV?
I could do that as well. Like, I don't know, like, I just want, like, I made a cool little, wait, there was my phone. I can probably show you real quick. It won't be super great quality, but I made an MTV like intro yesterday for it on iMovie, as I was saying. And if you guys can see, like, is it in a different way around, or is it?
It keeps flipping.
Fuck it, leave it. But basically, it's like an 80s MTV retro vibe.
Oh, that's nice.
It's gonna be pretty. I'm very, very excited about it. Basically, So just follow the Pariah platform on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, and Facebook too. But really, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok are my main things. And it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Give them a like, comment, and try to subscribe, and make sure you all subscribe to our channel as well.
Yeah, so I'll definitely give you guys a share. I really enjoyed the interview. It didn't feel like an interview. It felt very just like a normal conversation, which is a credit to both of you. Good job, man. You did a good job. You made me look good.
Nice, dude. All the best.
All the best, guys. See you later.
Peace out.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.